Hello, what's happening? This is Rob Bell, getting the record straight. We're doing the Black Rock and Soul segment right now. Good afternoon. Let's see, we're April 16th. This is Thursday, I believe. Been in the house all the time because of this virus, obviously. And the days are starting to run together. Please stay safe. Please keep your distance. Be cautious. Be circumspect. Don't be crazy out there. But I know, like many of you, I have had to get out, but please be cautious. Um, yeah, so we're talking music again, and you can hear uh, my playlist, which I put on YouTube twice a week. I change it up, and it's at www.blackrocksoul.com. Just click on BRS playlist. That will get you there so you can check out some of the great music we're doing. And also, there's a button there so it can get you to getting the record straight and our videos here. Um, Before I get into part of what I want to talk about, I do want to just not rehash, but kind of give a summary of the important things that we've gone over in terms of rock and roll and black music, black rock and roll, if you will, history. And I've got it my notes down here to say lessons learned. And there are some things I think you really should remember because the mainstream media really gives you kind of part of the story, but nowhere near maybe 10%. And I think it's important to remember at least these critical things about rock and roll and black music in the late 40s and 50s and how rock and roll actually started and who were the uh, people who originated that and impacted it. So, first of all, the father of rock and roll, Louis Jordan. Try to remember his name, try to look him up, check him out. Really critical and important person in the mid to late 40s. His band, I believe, was called the Tiffany Five. Many people, if you do a little bit of research, will reference Louis Jordan and his jump music as being the origin, or at least the popular origin. It's hard to say, who actually invented rock and roll, but certainly by the by the late 40s, 47, 48, 49, rock and roll was happening. And Louis Jordan was right at the center of it. Second thing I want you to remember is that it came out of the boogie woogie jazz movement, which was a piano driven movement. Okay, so when you talk about kind of the origins of rock and roll, where it came out of, it came directly out of this boogie woogie movement, which took place in the mid to late, well, throughout the 30s, 1930s. And so it really started to change up and kind of merge with swing, this jump and swing kind of thing, all of which was coming out of the jazz, jazz popular movements and genres. And so remember Boogie Woogie as being the fundamental aspect of element rather of rock and roll. It's this, they call it the rolling left hand on the piano. Doom 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 doom, and that is the essence of it. And then of course you had the singing groups, the harmony groups, the slower kind of groove thing that we talked about, as well as the boogie woogie style that fused with kind of the deep South blues and what you had going on there. So it's really what was happening in terms of rock and roll. So therefore, the first rock and roll, as I said, was rhythm and blues. There weren't one didn't come out of the. Rock and roll did not emerge from rhythm and blues. Rhythm and blues was rock and roll, and the best evidence of that, best testament to that, is the fact that the first, what almost everybody, virtually everyone agrees with, that Alan Freed's first rock and roll concert, all quote unquote rhythm and blues artists And we're talking 51, 52, 1951, 52. Rockabilly, which is part of rock and roll, that doesn't start till, in terms of being popular. There probably were fragments of it, around, but doesn't get popular to 55 and 56. By that time, Alan Freed has a national radio show in New York on WINS. So, if someone wants to tell you differently, you can tell them that they don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, so those are the main things I want you to remember about rock and roll. It is clearly and fundamentally a genre and an art form that came out of black music communities. But like I said, all kinds of people played the music, but it was fundamentally about um, black music. Having said that, let me. I saw something yesterday evening, and I just had to talk about it today. It's music related, but talk about two sisters, black women, they're not blood sisters, but just two remarkable artists. And one had a presentation last night that I happened to see. The other is, I'm so impressed with her music and her poetry and her presentation that I just had to start my playlist, my Black Rock and Soul playlist with her music. And that's Ursula Rucker, who is from right here in Philadelphia. Just an amazing artist, amazing spoken word and poet. And I've played on the playlist at least 5 or 6, maybe 7 of her records, and it just never ceases to amaze me. Just the quality of her stuff, it's groovy, funky, and just brilliant lyrics and presentation in terms of her spoken word and her delivery. And I like this record so much, Lonely Can Be Sweet, that I put that right at the top of the playlist. And then we followed up with Santana. So it's nice stuff. Please listen out. But, I just wanted to hold up Ursula, and because she is just an example of the kind of brilliance and genius that we have here in this city and can't get any playtime on the radio. Ergo, that's why I'm doing my playlist, and I encourage you all to, seek an alternative and listen to something that it's not all fun and games. It's music that obviously we want to rock to, but it's also music that is thoughtful and makes you consider some things, and oftentimes intricate music. Really well put together music. So the other thing is Jessica Care Moore, who was her sister in the struggle and sister in the arts, did a presentation yesterday. And let me kind of refer to my notes. Jessica Care Moore, in case you probably don't know, or you may not know her, is a spoken word artist and a musical artist who is primarily a poet and spoken word artist, and just absolutely brilliant. I had the occasion to see her about 2 summers ago in New York, and she was tremendous. Um, and she's a poet to her core. She's also, just to give you some more background, the CEO of More Black Press. She's the executive producer of Black Women Rock. She's the author of, I think, 7 books, and the latest one being We Want Our Bodies Back. She really gained fame by winning the Showtime at the Apollo competition, and she did that 5 times. So she is an amazing artist, an incredible mind, and really brilliant. Anyway, like I said, she has a book out now called We Want Our Bodies Back. She's also done several CDs, by the way. And she was doing readings from that book as well as some others at a place called Revolutionary Books in New York. Revolutionary Books in New York. And it was just amazing, amazing listening to her. I mean, it's hard to really express in words to listen to someone reading poetry and that it actually be exciting. I mean, this was uplifting, exciting. Um, I mean, it was just an awesome, awesome, dynamic performance. And she was just reading the poetry that she had written. And I just was floored. Of course, I have seen her before, and I have played some of her music on the playlist. And I go back 20 years maybe to listening to these underground CDs by some independent association, if you will, or organization that went by the name of AWOL. And they were really anti-establishment, anti-war group. And I think that's the first time I heard Jessica on one of those CDs. But between her and Ursula Rucker, just tremendous artists. Please look them up. They both have websites. Jessica Care Moore, Ursula Rucker, and get some of their stuff. I mentioned this a couple times, a couple of videos before, that they're independent artists. They're not in the mainstream. They're not on the big labels. You can't hear them on the radio unless you go to maybe one of the college stations, something like that. But they are, I do try to play them when I can on my playlist. So please look them up. They both have websites. If you go to my Facebook page, I think I have the presentation of Jessica. Believe I saved it on my Facebook page, the Black Rock and Soul Facebook page. So check that out. Check out the playlist. Go to Black Rock, www.blackrocksoul.com. You'll hear Ursula's cut. Really dynamite stuff. And like I said, they both have websites. They both have CDs. I don't know if Ursula has any books, though. But anyway, go check them out. Buy a couple of things. I just bought a couple of things from Jessica's website. Please do that. They are tremendous artists, and I can't overemphasize that. And her presentation, Jessica Care Moore's, was off the chain. Do you hear me? Off the chain. So please check her out, give her a shout out, show her your support. You know what? I think I'm going to stop there, and then we start back with going into the South and how the black music, rock and roll music, those genres, those styles of black music came into the 60s. And like I said, how they really percolated in Detroit, Chicago, and Memphis. And so we want to continue that next time. So, again, be safe. Subscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. And so we can keep growing and keep moving on. Take care. Peace.